This is Lauren Alexander, and you're listening to the Groove Lab podcast. Hey everyone, thanks so much for being here. This is a podcast all about the people who make up the music industry. This week I've got Ana Cristina Cash. She just put out a new single, which is her take on the Hawaiian Christmas classic, Mele Kalikimaka. And I have to tell you, when I first got this interview, all I knew was that Ana Cristina Cash was the daughter-in-law of Johnny Cash. Yes, the Johnny Cash. So I was nervous for weeks before we recorded our episode because, that's a big deal for a new little podcaster. But I was so relieved to find out that she was super sweet and down to earth and honestly so much more than just the daughter-in-law of Johnny Cash. She's just independent and well-spoken, and she can definitely stand on her own 2 feet. In our interview, we talk about mental health and motherhood because she is the mother of a 3-year-old, so it was fun to have that in common with her. And I also got to ask her what it was like to carry around the Cash name and have that be associated with her music. So let's get that going. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for doing this podcast. My name's Lauren.
Of course. Hi, Lauren.
So I'm super excited to talk to you about your new single and your family. But let's just start off with, how are you and how have things been going for you?
I've been doing well considering the circumstances. You know, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so that's not fun for anybody.
Right, for sure.
As you know, and have experienced yourself, I'm sure. And, just trying to hang in there, just trying to be creative, continuing to work. I'm a mom. I have a 3-year-old and, very much love cooking for my husband as well. And he and I cook together and he loves to cook and, just trying to spend the time that way as well, other than work.
Yeah, that's so important.
Definitely.
So you released your album Shine during this pandemic. What was that experience like for you? I know it was, I'm sure, different than other things you have done.
Well, I've been able to connect with a lot of fans virtually, and it's received a very good response from Billboard, from American Songwriter, from Entertainment Focus, the Americana Music Association, and, several different publications. So I feel very blessed to have been able to do virtual shows as well as IG Lives, Facebook Lives, and connect with fans in that way. But I definitely do miss being on stage. I had a Grand Ole Opry show that I was supposed to play, and that got canceled, and it's being moved either to early 2021 or right before the start of the year. So I am very eager to get back on track with that. And, I didn't get to do any of the live experiences, but I'm still grateful for the fact that we live in a time that we're able to communicate with one another because of technology, because of Zoom, because of social media and FaceTime. So it's a whole different world than being in the 19th century and having a pandemic.
For sure. Definitely. Well, tell me about recording that album.
Well, it took a matter of about 3 years at the Cash Cabin Studio here in Hendersonville, Tennessee. It was produced by my husband, John Carter Cash, engineered by Chuck Turner, and co-engineered by Trey Call. And I worked with so many different songwriters. I got to write several songs of my own, some songs with different co-writers. And I would say it's a fusion between pop, country, Americana, and jazz. It has a blues influence too. And I do have to say it's an eclectic record, but there's a lot for everyone, all kinds of people, and I'm very proud of it.
Well, I totally agree. There is a lot to offer. I'd like to talk about one of the songs from the album, Broken Roses. I know it touches on mental health. Can you tell me about that song and the inspiration behind it?
Yes, so Broken Roses really is kind of a sad ballad. It's about the deterioration of a love relationship due to substance abuse. So it shows one partner in the song. It's the male partner, just completely not who he was. And, there's a breakup or an eventual death, essentially. And then we did the video for that. And you really don't know what happens at the end, if he commits suicide or not. We kind of left that open. We left it hopeful at the same time. But it's it's I wrote the song with Kevin Dunn, with Bill Miller, and my husband John Carter Cash. It started off with piano chords that Kevin Dunn was playing, and we all kind of chimed in with the lyrics and the melody and everything. And um, then I saw it as something bigger. I saw it as a chance to speak out, to help break the stigma of mental health and create mental health awareness.
Yeah. Well, I watched the video and it was heartbreaking. It was kind of hard to watch.
Yes, it is. It is. It's hard, but I also wanted to create a very real portrayal of that. I felt like the song had a bigger message, and I felt that it needed to be true to what really happens in the lives of people, and people need to take a look at that, and hopefully some people can relate to that and seek help for a loved one and encourage others to get help if they really need it.
Right. And especially right now, I feel like that's such an important conversation to have. So, great job. Very, very powerful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. You're so welcome. Um, well, let's talk a little bit about having Johnny Cash as your father-in-law and working with your husband and the Carter family. What is it like having the name Cash associated with your music? Do you ever find it hard to make your own voice heard, or do you feel like people expect certain things from you?
Well, it's very interesting because I started working in music for such a long time. I started performing on international television since I was 6 years old. And then when I was a teenager, I was signed to a major record label. So I'd been doing on my work on my own for a very long time before John and I met. And I toured Latin America, and I worked with Grammy Award winning producers at a very young age, literally while I was still in high school as a teenager. And then I did major events, performed for the White House, for the president, all before we met. So I had a full blown career in both the Latin music industry and then independently as um, an English speaking artist as well. And then when we met, we kind of just had complemented each other. I think it was great to work together in the studio after that. I think I'm very, very proud of my family. I love, the history of the music of Johnny Cash and the Carter family, and I've learned a lot. I'm a big country music fan. At the same time, I think it's important for people to know that I've been working for a very long time prior to the association. So, sometimes maybe people don't know that about me, but I've had people follow me for a long time, so they know. But when I was just known as Ana Cristina, I had a pretty good body of work already, working with several Grammy winning producers.
Well, I was just so curious about that. But yeah, you seem very independent, and your music definitely has its own style.
I'm definitely very independent. I'm very much my own person. But of course, I am proud of my family by marriage as well. And my influences have been very broad because I was raised in Miami in a very bicultural environment. So my influences from there are present in what I've carried on to the record Shine, as well as the 4 years I spent in Los Angeles. I was heavily influenced by that. I went to a lot of performances from friends that were songwriters and musicians. And those three places, Miami, California, and Nashville, have really shaped who I am. So the result is something so mixed, but at the same time, very cohesive. I can't really explain it. Just
Yeah.
the fusion of music, it's all there.
Yeah, you can definitely hear that. Well, let's talk about your single, Mele Kalikimaka. It's so fun. I love it, especially right now.
Thank
I
you.
heard that it was inspired by your daughter.
Yeah, so Grace June Cash, our daughter, she's 3 years old. And we had the opportunity to take her to Hawaii last year before all of this insanity hit with COVID and everything. And we took her to go see a luau, and she was so impressed. You should have seen her little eyes. So we wanted to recreate that feeling for her. So I'm like, what's a Hawaiian song that I know? And I knew Christmas was coming up. I'm like, how about doing Mele Kalikimaka? So we had Derek Phillips, a very good friend of ours, who's an amazing drummer here in Nashville, amazing musician. He created like a 2-bar Tahitian drum kind of thing before the song even starts, with the slides and guitars. And that's the part she loves the most about that music, is the drums. So that was pretty much all for her.
That's sweet. Since we're talking about your daughter, I'd love to talk really quick about motherhood and family life, not only as a musician, but as a musician during a pandemic. I'm a mother of an almost 3-year-old myself, and I'm a musician. And I know things for
Awesome.
me are not easy. So I'd just love to hear your perspective and experience.
Yeah, so it's been pretty interesting just having had to travel for work with a small baby. My husband and I, when we had shows abroad, or if he had interviews abroad that I had to accompany him with our little child, we were able to bring someone with us to help. Sometimes not. But most oftentimes I have, some form of help or another. But
Right.
remember, he had to do like a promo thing in Australia, and I came along with our daughter, and she was 6 months old when she took that flight to Australia, and she had to sleep on the little like baby bed on the plane that was like kind of above me, and it was kind of freaky. And then I would just breastfeed on all these trips. I had to travel internationally like pretty much since she was 4 months old, since that the doctor gives the okay for her to travel. So I went to Canada when she was 4 months old or 5 months old. I had to go to London and perform there when she was about 5 months old, and again that trip to Australia when she was 6 months old. And then just just family trips I've taken her to, but the whole time just I remember breastfeeding. And then I started also doing a master's degree like right after she was
Oh
born.
my
So that was
gosh.
really hard. So it was really hard. So I
Go
was
you.
performing. Thanks. And I'm almost done with it now. I have a 9-month thesis left after this semester, but I am studying creative writing via the Harvard Extension School, which has been a crazy rewarding journey, but also just very time consuming, honestly, just being a mom and um, doing a full higher education master's degree, and also being a performer, and then constantly having to put myself out there and then create new content and new creative work. So yeah, between the breastfeeding, the pumping, the long flights, the preparation for the shows, and a master's degree, it was, especially during the early times, it was challenging, but it is still now sometimes, when she's like running around and nobody's here to help. But I
Right.
usually try to find help, and she has a wonderful nanny that helps me out, Ophelia. So I'm very fortunate in that sense, and I am very sensitive to the fact that a lot of mothers can't have that help necessarily. So
Right.
um, so I do have someone that helps because my family is not nearby.
Right. They're
They
in
live in Florida.
Florida. Yeah. Yeah.
They're in
So,
Florida, so that's
oh,
tough.
that is
Yeah.
very hard. So, how has it impacted you creatively?
Well, I definitely have to manage my time. Sometimes I have to just shift schedules around for when she can be watched. Like she was in a preschool last year, but I made the personal decision not to send her this year because of COVID.
Right.
And she doesn't necessarily, they don't have to go till kindergarten, but then so she is missing a little bit of the socialization that I feel bad for. But she does have older siblings. I have 3 older stepchildren, and she sees them sometimes on the weekends and everything. So that's a nice interaction for her. But I would say just with the writing and being creative, it's hard. I try to organize quarterly, just like keep everything around me tidy, even though it's very hard because life kind of falls apart and gets messy when you have children. And
Definitely. Definitely.
as you
Everything
know,
is
and
sticky.
everything is sticky. Things fall, accidents happen. I mean, there's a lot of poop involved,
A lot. Definitely.
especially with potty training, and yeah, there's a lot of poop in my life. So there's that.
Is that ever like anything you would have thought you would talk about on a music interview, like before you
No,
became a mother?
no, no. I mean, it keeps me very humble. I mean, I am not, immune to just everything that goes along with motherhood. I feel like
Yeah.
I can relate to a lot of people because of that. And people think musicians or celebrities are a certain kind of thing, or that they, you know, honestly, just like everyone else.
Right.
Absolutely, just like everyone else.
Right. For sure. Well, so on my podcast I try to make it like a place for maybe musicians to share advice with other musicians or creative people. Would you have any sort of advice to give to anyone that might be listening?
Yes, I would say don't let people get you down when you start to rise in your craft. Unfortunately, it is a competitive industry like any other industry. People will just, you know, say mean things for absolutely no reason. Maybe they're jealous or they're dealing with their own personal stuff. So just keep your head up, keep working on your craft, keep promoting yourself, and good things will happen. I would say that nothing comes out of nothing, is what I'd like to always say. I think just perpetuating work, constantly making yourself known, and just, creating quality work. The music has to be really good, but there are a lot of people out there that will get you down on purpose, and you have to kind of just have your blinders on and ignore those people.
I love that for sure. That's great advice because it's so true, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there are always people that are ready to bring you down, and you have to just fight those people off. You have to be a fighter.
Yeah, for sure. Last question. Is there anything coming up that you're looking forward to? I know you mentioned another Opry date, and I know it's kind of hard to really plan anything right now. But do you have anything coming up that you're looking forward to?
That I'm looking forward to. I am working on a 6-song EP right now that is country pop at the moment. And after that, I plan on doing work on a jazz record, which I'm very excited about. Some other news that I would like to share that's recent is that the project I worked on with Los Tigres del Norte of translating Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues into Spanish, the album itself was nominated for 2 Latin Grammys. So we'll find out if they win. So I was very proud to be a part of that. And also Brand New Pair of Shoes, the song that is on Shine that I co-wrote with my father-in-law, Johnny Cash. It was re-released on Sony Legacy as a part of the Forever Words Expanded. So the acoustic video just went up for that on, socials and everything. So we're really excited about that as well.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's very exciting.
Thank you so much.
For everyone listening at home, be sure to check out Anna's brand new single, Mele Kalikimaka, and also her album, Shine.
Thanks for listening to the Groove Lab podcast. Stay groovy.
You guys know I'm a newbie at podcasting. There's so much that goes into it. But luckily, I found Anchor, the easiest way to podcast. Not only do they have the tools to help you record and edit, but they also help with distribution. So your voice can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. But the best part is, it's free. Everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Make your voice heard. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and I hope you have a great week. I don't think I said it before, but happy December. If you don't mind, it would mean a lot if you could share this episode with your friends or leave me a good review. I would really appreciate it. I'll be back next week with a brand new interview. Stay groovy.